Let me put my stuff on, guys. Let me let some people come into the room. Lord. All I wanted was your love, 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 love. Hate is a strong word, but I really, really, really don't like you. Now that it's over, I don't even know what I liked about you. Hey Trisha, brought me around. You just brought me down. Hate is a strong word, but I really, really, really don't like you. Hey guys. No. What is up, y'all? It's your girl Lala, aka LaChelle, aka Chelle, aka Michelle, my belle. What is up, y'all? What is up? Don't mind me. I'm just trying to get my life together, you know? Trying to get it together. Oh, hey. We got a lot of people in the room. Big. Y'all know I gotta say my haze before I get started on my video. Child, Nikki, where you been? All right, so real quick, y'all, because I am on my lunch break and I am about to go work out. I wanted to come to y'all because my drag motherfucking hand has been itching real bad lately. And I was trying to step away from it, and I woke up with a different perspective. I said, instead of dragging people, why not put a positive twist on a learning experience? So that's what I'm here to do. Before I get started, I want to give the disclaimer that this is not a shot at anybody. It's really all of my experiences, both SL and RL, because I do believe that SL reaches people in a real capacity. So just all of my situations combined in both SL and RL. And I want to talk about not just what happened, but what I feel like I did, like where I went wrong. Yes, you have, Nikki. Okay. So here's the thing. Like I said, my drag fucking hand has been itching real bad lately, and now I know why. So first and foremost, there was a troll on my channel who called himself trying to give me feedback, but he wanted to do it disrespectfully. So I blocked him respectfully, with all disrespect. So let me make myself clear. I am not too good to receive feedback. I'm not above it. In fact, I'm always looking for ways to learn and improve as a person. So I'm definitely down for that. If you want to give me some valid, measurable feedback, then that's cool. And I mean measurable as in, don't just say you suck or you got a bad attitude or you're too aggressive. Like, give me something tangible that I can compare it to. If you're going to say I got a bad attitude, give me a situation where you saw me behave badly and why you think it's bad. Because if not, I'm just going to think it's your opinion. That's that. Thanks, Nikki. So, again, if you tell me there's a problem with me, you have to give me something tangible to compare with, because obviously I don't see it as a problem. So in order for me to respect your perspective, give me something I can look at so I can understand your interpretation. Otherwise, you just look like a hater. And I try to do the same. Like, I either try to give the feedback in the moment, especially if it's something that I felt was crossed the line or whatever. I'll try to give it in that moment. Like, see, when you did that, this is how I interpret it. And that's another thing. I don't tell people what their intentions are. I tell them the action I saw them display and then how it made me feel. because I'm always open for, hey, it may have come across this way, but that's not my intention. At the end of the day, we're all human, and all we have to go off of is our own life experience. So just because I process something some way, that doesn't mean that that's what the person's intent was. So I'm always open for you to be like, oh, dang, it may have came off this way, but this is what I mean. Because again, until I experience things differently, I know what I know, right? That's why the old folks say, when you know better, you do better. So if all I had was experience with the situation in this capacity, 9 times out of 10, I won't be able to interpret it any other way, because the only thing I can relate it to is what I've already experienced. So if I say, hey, this is how I processed it, and that's not your intention, and you're like, no, that wasn't my intended result, I'm open to be like, oh, okay, well, help me understand. Right? And that improves my perspective as a person. And you have to be humble like that to be successful in any relationship, whether it's romantic, platonic, it doesn't matter. So meaning friends, family, anything like that. So my last few experiences, I'm saying it with an S. So again, don't try to pinpoint it. Oh, and I don't want anybody to try to use this for clout. That's a video about me. You don't know. Just be quiet. My last few experiences, as much as I don't care for the people I have them with, it taught me a lot about myself, right? And how I needed to stay single. And I'm saying I need to stay single because I'm not going to lie, my last experience, it was my straw that broke the camel's back. Like I'm tired of people getting away with this, so I need to do something to make you feel it so y'all can stop playing with me. Right? And it let me know that my reaction wasn't so much about the person. Don't get it twisted. They absolutely violated on multiple occasions. But my reaction was based off of multiple situations, not just that one. So it may have been amplified. And you probably like, what? Yes, I am woman enough to admit that. My second strike in my last situation was I have became so happy and content being single. I'm not ready to make that adjustment. I've spent most of my life, I'm talking RL, because y'all know I barely talk to people and say, well, outside my squad, you know, we got the crew. We done created our own like Black Queen Flossy Posse out here, right? So in RL, in my relationships, right, I gave everything all the time. So I was always working. What about your feelings? How was your day? Let me cook. Let me clean. Let me give. And at the end of them, it's like everything I gave was in my left hand, right? And that hand was full. The tricep was strong. I was holding mountains and boulders. Then I looked to my right hand, the hand of everything that I received, and it was as light as a feather. So after every relationship, I felt exhausted because I didn't set boundaries, and not just boundaries with the other people, but boundaries with myself. I should have stopped doing a lot of the things I did. A lot of people showed me who they were in the very beginning, but I was like, but I could love them into the person I believe they could be. Listen, I hate to repeat a saying that people have worn out, but it's true. When, like Maya Angelou said, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. That's who they are, and you can't get mad at them for being the same person they told you they were simply because you're frustrated that they didn't become the person you wanted them to be, or the person you thought they could be, or the person you thought you could create. You can't get mad at somebody for that. When somebody shows you this is who I am, that's who they are. And so I caught myself trying to do things differently this time. And I was just like, and I say this time, meaning my last few times, meaning like, okay, I'm going to step outside my comfort zone. Because y'all, I was skeptical of everything. Like if I didn't witness it firsthand, I didn't believe it. So people were nice to me. I'd enjoy it for a little bit, but then I'd also be like, what's your motive? And I was right about all of them. They all turned out not to be the greatest of people. And I say not to be the greatest of people because maybe it's not their definition of who they are as a person, but it's just their definition of who they are with me. So I was skeptical of everybody. And so this time I said, no, I'm going to be more open-minded. But you also have to, in being open-minded and being forgiving, understanding, kind-hearted, you have to also exercise your discernment, which leads me to my next point. I posted this on my Facebook this morning. And again, this isn't a shot at anyone. People love tea. I'm learning that. So you can't post nothing without somebody trying to tell you or assume who it's about. So there are words being worn out on the internet by people with limited knowledge. In fact, a lot of them only have the knowledge of what they get off of Facebook and Instagram. What's up, cuzzo, baby? Hold on, y'all. I gotta say hey to my cousin. So there are words on the internet being worn out, and at this point, the wolves are pulling up in sheep's clothing, and people are still falling for it, even though you can see the wolf snout peeking from under the sheep's costume. So you're probably like, what? Narcissists and empaths, y'all are wearing them words out to a point where narcissists are now announcing themselves as empaths. And now there are different degrees to narcissism, right? Like I literally studied this and I talked to professionals. This is not me going to Facebook, Instagram, or Google. Like they gave me resources. I read things. I talked to people, had counseling. Like I really did the research on this. And this was before it became popular on the internet. Like I call her my soul sister. She's an elder. And me and her even sat down and went over it. And we used to sit together, honestly, and compare our experiences with our narcissists, like to a point where she'd text me like, what did your narc do today? And I'd be like, how you know? And then she'd be like, cause mine did this. And it was almost like our narcs, I don't know if it was something planetary or whatever, it was almost like they aligned because they would both be on BS at the same time. Mind you, they didn't know each other. So back to what I was saying, but the narcissist and empaths word, I don't like to say I'm an empath. I just like to say I feel things and I care about people. That's what I say. But I see a lot of people talking about, oh, I'm an empath. Half of y'all aren't connected to yourself, let alone connected to others. You haven't done the work to master the art of being an empath, which you never truly master. But a lot of y'all don't know yourselves. But you talking about, oh, I feel it. I'm an empath. You don't feel your own emotions. So how do you feel other people? But that's another topic for another day. So you have narcissists out here calling themselves empath. And not just that, narcissists are learning trigger words, right? And I say, you probably like, what do you mean trigger words? Like narcissists are learning that, okay, what are words to garner sympathy? Depression, mental health. Like they're throwing out words like that. Or they'll say, I'm going into a dark place. You know what I mean? They're learning those things because because we've had so much going on and there's been so much promotion of mental health in regards to like PTSD, again, depression, the other word that begins with the S, because they know that all of that stuff is becoming not popular in the sense of cool, but popular in the sense of people are shining light on it to remind you that it's a real thing that people go through. They're learning to use those words. So you're probably like, well, bundles on deck, blame social media. I agree. So they're learning those trigger words. So narcissists now will be like, oh, somebody's trying to make me depressed. Oh, it's spiritual warfare. Oh, I'm going into a dark place. And now you're probably like, Chelle, are you mocking mental health? Absolutely not. I have a family member that I lost to the S word. Until this day, I go through survivor's remorse. And I'm not going to get into it because I already feel it creeping up in my throat, right? So I would never make fun of mental health. But I'm saying we have to learn how to exercise discernment because people are now using that as a ploy to finesse people, whether they're finessing people out of money, whether they're finessing people out of attention, whether they're finessing people out of sympathy, whether they're finessing people out of forgiveness. And you're probably, how do you finesse forgiveness out of somebody? Well, if you're behaving badly, and normally I would eliminate you for that, if you make me feel sorry for you, I'm going to give you a pass. And that's been my problem. I've been so hell-bent on, I don't want to hurt anybody, because again, that survivor's remorse is real. It's a real thing. And so I was like, after I lost that family member, I was like, I will never let anybody feel like that again, because now I got a new responsibility, because somebody I loved felt like they couldn't come to me. So I must have not been doing something right? So then I started trying to be the superhero for everybody, but everybody don't want to be saved. So again, I'm not talking about mental health. I'm not watering it down. I'm saying we have to learn to support people while exercising discernment. And I'm sorry, my mouth just hit that P so hard, y'all. It's dry and I'm salivating because I really need to be drinking my pre-workout. Ooh, okay. So I'll give you some situations I've been through. And again, don't try to pinpoint who it is, because I am talking about multiple people at the same time. And this is a combination of SL and RL. In fact, I've dated much more in RL than I have in SL. So one of these particular situations, the person was like, oh, I feel like I'm going into a dark place. I feel like the D word, depression, right? And I just don't know what to do. So I immediately start looking up stuff where they are. I start looking up hotlines and free resources, because I understand with the pandemic, things hit different when it comes to getting help, especially for that. And that's another thing. In a lot of communities, the reason they haven't sought help for their mental health is they always thought that it was a rich person's resource. Mental health stability, mental health counseling, just mental health resources. A lot of us were taught that's rich. That's what rich people do. We can't afford that. Right? So when I start looking up mental health resources, I always try to find like the free stuff. And believe it or not, because the S word rates and the depth, we're going to refer to depression as depth, and the depth has increased in many areas. There are a lot of these nonprofit organizations being established and being funded. You say if it's nonprofit being funded, meaning they're being funded as far as to run their resources, not make a profit. But they're being funded through government funding, because the rates of poor mental health is increasing almost everywhere. So for this person, I started looking up all of these mental health resources, like hotlines for if you're feeling like hurting yourself or hurting somebody else, just counselors that you could go to. Hey, if you make under this, you can go seek, they have this mental health resource that's either free or at a lower cost. Support groups. I'm looking up all of those things for this person, right? Because they've been behaving badly and I was about to cut them off, but they hit me with the mental health word. And so all of a sudden, bing, that family member pops in my mind. Nope, I got to do something. So I'm giving this person all these resources, and they're like, oh, well, I have health insurance. And I have an appointment with a mental health specialist and all this other stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. Cool. So we move on. The person keeps behaving badly to a point where I'm like, hey, when is that appointment? Long and short of it, y'all, the appointment never comes. They never utilize any of the free resources, and instead they refer to their vices to cope instead. And now this is not to say that that person doesn't have real mental health issues, but you can't help people that don't want to be helped. And to be quite honest, those type of people will not only not help themselves, but they will take you down with them. I'm going to say that again. When you're giving somebody all the resources in the world and they don't want to use any of them, those type of people don't want to be helped. And they will take you down with them. And I speak from experience, because I have had moments in my life, eons ago, where I probably wasn't in the best state mentally. Not in the sense of like I'm going around hurting people, but I was lashing out to a point where you could look at me wrong and you cut off for life. Like that bridge is burned and I done peed on the ashes. That's how bad it is. And anybody would offer me anything, it was kind of like my pride was like, no. And even I needed to be left alone in those moments, because people who don't want help will take you down with them. Stop letting these people convince you that your love will be everything they need. The want to change within them has to exist. Now, if it just so happens that y'all fall in love and all that other stuff at the same time, then cool, your love can absolutely help. But your love is not the fix. And in probably 70% of those situations, the person ends up getting taken down with the very person that they're trying to love into a healthy space. And I just find it interesting when someone says, oh, they expect your love to bring them through it, and I love you, but how can you love me when you don't love yourself? I'm going to say that again. How can you love me when you don't love yourself? And I really wish people stop throwing that word around. And I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes I've said I love you back to people just because they said it to me and I didn't want them to feel bad. Right? But y'all have to be careful of that. Y'all have to be careful of those people who, oh, everybody has done me wrong. My family does me wrong. My friends done me wrong. All my exes done me wrong. They do me wrong at work. They do me wrong on social media. Everybody just does me wrong. Okay, cool. So if everybody's doing you wrong, you probably have a little some sort of emotional PTSD, right? Are you going to counseling? No, I'm not. Oh, but the fact that you feel like everybody does you wrong means it's affecting you. And so you should probably go talk to somebody about that. Our love does not prepare us to give people the support that they need from mental health professionals. There is a reason they make these people go to college, school, get certified, all that. There's a reason. We are not, half of us can't qualify on helping somebody else with their mental health because we haven't even mastered our own. So be mindful of the person that's always a victim. Some people don't want help. They really do just want attention. And if you really want to help them, give them resources. You're not going to love somebody out of a dark place. Your love can help. But until they want to come out of that dark place is where they stay. And sometimes they're in a dark place because they're the one that keeps taking out the light bulb. And you have to be cognizant of that. So instead of me taking anything that made me upset from my past, because I found myself thinking about that a lot lately. And I didn't want it to bleed into my channel. And I say my past, and I'm talking about years back. I'm not paying attention to the chat. I love y'all, but I just really want to get this out so I can go work out. But the reflecting over the last 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks actually, this has been on my mind heavy. I think about my past a lot. And I think that that's where I went wrong. Because after a while, I stopped listening to my discernment. And I just felt like, oh, I just need to show them that I love and support them. Right? Meanwhile, they getting high and drinking liquor all the time. Does that look like somebody that's trying to take care of their mental health? I feel like it doesn't. Am I judging them? No. But again, in order to be able to take care of others, you got to first take care of you. So you give them the resources and you support them from that angle, but you don't allow anybody to cross your boundaries, disrespect you, mistreat you, or neglect you because it's like, oh, my mental health. If they're working on it, that's different. But if they just keep screaming, oh, my mental health, for some people, they're not telling you that because they want help or they want to improve. It's their crutch. Don't hold me accountable because I'm just so sad. You're so sad that you don't want to do a thing about it. And again, y'all, I'm not judging them because I'm also talking about myself. I've been there before. I remember, y'all, one time I was in a place so dark that I just crawled underneath my bed. I'm not lying. Crawled underneath my bed, was in the fetal position, and just laid on the floor and cried in the dark. That's how messed up I was. People kept giving me resources. I was too proud to use the resources. And that's where I was. So I'm speaking to you from experience. And mine wasn't being in a dark place got me attention. It made me feel strong because I was like, it still didn't break me yet. Child, I was broken like a glass dropped on the cement. I don't know who I was lying to. But just be cognizant of that. Again, the internet is teaching these people, like Bundle said, I blame social media absolutely as well. The internet is treating these people to trigger words to say to make people feel sorry for you, and excuse their bad behavior. You can support people without putting yourself in a toxic situation. You absolutely can. And again, if this person is not actively taking steps to be better, you could essentially be setting yourself up for failure. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people probably not going to tell you this. Some of y'all might even disagree with me, and I'm 100% fine with that. Love is not enough. It's not enough for your family. It's not enough for your friends. It's not enough for your partner. Love is not enough. When it comes to mental health, the desire has to start from within. Now, if it's a chemical imbalance thing, of course, they won't have the desire to get help, because a lot of times mentally they don't see themselves in need of help. But when someone is outright telling you, oh, it's my mental health, so then you're acknowledging that a problem exists. What are you doing about it? That's no different than the person who goes, oh, I need to lose weight, I'm so tired of being big, and then goes to McDonald's every day. It's no different. Would you not look at them and be like, you want to lose weight, but you eating Big Macs every day? Would y'all be like, oh, it's okay, here's some McDonald's? No. You'd be like, stop telling me you want to lose weight when you eating fast food every day. You have to approach mental health the same way, except mental health is more dangerous. You see, me eating that fast food is going to hurt me. When it comes to mental health, if I'm telling you that I know for a fact that I'm damaged, and I'm not doing anything to take care of it, that could bleed into you. And then you know what cycle you fall into? You fall into the guilt trip cycle, where it's starting to take a wear and tear on you. Because remember, if somebody tells you my mental health is depleted or severely impacted, they don't have much to give you. So now they're just taking from you. And while they're taking from you, sometimes they're essentially running you in the ground at the same time. So now your mental health isn't at its best. So if I come to you and say, this is my problem and I'm doing nothing about it, then it's really not a problem to me at all. I just need you to give me a pass. So be mindful, again, of the person who has all the problems in the world, but then when you ask them what they do to fix it, nothing. Or every excuse as to why I can't get this done. So be careful. Watch out for those trigger words. If somebody's telling you, like, especially if I'm telling you that my mental health is messed up, I shouldn't be trying to get in no relationship. If anything, I should be staying away from a relationship, because how could I pursue another person when I'm not even whole yet? Your partner isn't supposed to complete you. They're supposed to enhance who you are. You're supposed to show up complete. Not perfect. No, I did not say perfect. But you're supposed to show up complete. And a lot of times we get the red flags in the beginning. You should not be somebody's support system in the very beginning of the relationship. If they show up to you in trouble, they need to be working on resolving that situation. Like, we could be friends, but there should be no talk of love and relationships and all that other stuff. And usually people doing that aren't just genuine people going through a hard time. It's people finessing you. It's people finessing you. It's no different than the pimp who picks up the lost girls looking for mommy and daddy's love. It's no different from how they finesse. A lot of these games are the same. People just switching the players. That's it. So look for those. Somebody come to you talking about, oh, my mental health. Hook them up with resources. Heck, you can find resources anywhere now. Hook them up with resources. But if you don't see that they're actively pursuing anything to get better, then it's time for you to go. Because people will guilt trip you and try to tell you, well, if you love me, you would stay. If you loved me, you would take care of your business instead of dragging me down with you. And I hate that one-sided stuff. Well, your love, to prove your love and your loyalty for a person, you're supposed to cross every bound for them. But it's never enough for them to do right by you. See, love is supposed to be enough for you to be extra patient, for you to endure more, for you to give more, for you to work harder, for you to be understanding. That's what love is supposed to do. But love is never enough for them to do better. That don't make sense to me. Like, I've seen people say, oh, you're not supposed to treat me that way because you my family. Well, I'm reacting to what you did. So why wasn't our blood tie enough for you not to do what you did, but it's supposed to be enough for me to forgive you and hang around? I don't understand that. But that's another video for another day. I want to thank y'all for listening. I'm already hitting the 30-minute mark. Again, just be careful. When people are throwing out those words like mental health, depression, the S word, and all of that other stuff, give them the resource and see how they act. And some people ain't depressed at all. They creating storms and complaining about the rain. They'll be like, oh, my ex left me high and dry, but they won't tell you that they cheated on them 17 times, was verbally abusive, and stole money out their bank account. They won't tell you that part. Right? They won't tell you that. So sometimes you got to turn off your I feel sorry for you and turn up your discernment. I ain't saying be cold to people. I'm saying be smart. Let your brain and your heart work together. And with that, I want to thank y'all. I love y'all so much. For free, I'm going to come and check these comments later, but I really got to go work out because I only got 30 more minutes on my lunch break. All right, y'all. Peace. Mwah.